It's Thursday, May 25th, 2023. Market's pretty flat today. You would think with this debt ceiling dilemma still going on, no resolution yet, no agreement yet, you would think that the markets would be plunging right now, but it almost seems like the markets really don't care. I mean, the markets don't really care about anything other than the Fed, hoping and praying that the Fed's going to come back, pause, then reverse course and print a lot of money. That's what these markets are betting on. It doesn't even seem to matter. The debt ceiling dilemma doesn't even matter. The faltering economy doesn't seem to matter. Jobless claims today. We got the jobless claims today. 229,000 Americans filed first-time jobless claims last week. And more news today. Nordstrom slashing over 300 jobs in San Francisco store closures. So they're closing those two Nordstroms in San Francisco, and it says right here, both its downtown locations are closing, citing dynamics of the area. What do you think dynamics means? That means crime. So 300 people are going to lose their jobs. And of course, there's a huge ripple effect too. The amount of tax revenue that's not going to come to the city, the people who deliver goods, the restaurants around that Nordstrom's, you know, that's a really a large anchor store. And so many other little stores and businesses rely on these larger stores. And so many other jobs outside of just the jobs at Nordstrom's rely on Nordstrom's being there. And now 300 people alone just at Nordstrom's are losing their jobs because of the dynamics in the area, the crime in the area. It's really, really sad. It really is. JP Morgan letting go 1,000 First Republic employees. Workers received the clarity. JP Morgan promised clarity, and they delivered. 1,000 First Republic employees will be losing their jobs. So you can kind of figure out 229,000 Americans filed first-time jobless claims last week. Remember, independent contractors, people who have run out of unemployment, people coming out of college who can't find a job. There's all sorts of people who are not included in unemployment, who are not filing claims. You have people that might have been making $100,000 2 years ago. Now they're driving for Lyft and Uber, and they're working at Starbucks. These people don't count. This economy is much worse than the average American knows. It really is. It is much worse than the average American can even conceive. The hedge today, pending home sales, disappoints in April as mortgage rates top 7%. Bankrate.com today, I saw the 30-year fixed mortgage at, I believe it was 7.12. Pending home sales unchanged from March and down 22.6% year over year. Mortgage rates now, as I said, above 7%. This is going to be a big problem. Mortgage rates above 7% and people losing their jobs. We have sticky inflation, and we're going to continue to see people in the housing business, in the real estate business, mortgage business. They're going to be losing jobs. They're going to be quitting. And I know a lot of people out there will say, oh, it's good in my area. It's good in my area. I pray to God it is good in your area, and I really pray that it stays good in your area. But we're looking at national numbers here, and it is really quite alarming. And, you know, there was an article that came out a couple months ago on The Hedge, and it was titled 30% of realtors could quit during housing crash. So we have this so-called limited inventory, mortgage rates above 7%, price is still elevated. Agents right now are dropping like flies. And many of these agents are going to go back to working at the bars, the hair salons. They're going to go back to Starbucks and those type of jobs. We have right now in this country 1.6 million realtors. 1.6 million realtors. There are way more realtors than there are homes. And way more realtors now than there are probably qualified buyers in the housing market right now too. So this is going to be a very, very big problem. And again, somebody's going to reach out and go, oh, it's good in my area. And I pray it stays good in your area. But we're looking at the national numbers. Your area, your little town of Mayberry is not going to support the national numbers. We are watching this thing like a brush fire going across the United States of America. And I was just pulling up some other states across the country. It's astonishing to see these massive numbers where sales are just being crushed. And we're seeing inventory in areas like Austin, areas like Dallas exploding, Phoenix exploding. And we're looking at days on market of these properties staying on much, much longer. So prices are starting to come down. Days on market, these properties are staying on much, much longer. Inventory in some of these, some of the hottest markets is exploding. And now the buyers are disappearing because they cannot keep up with inflation. They cannot buy at 7+%. They're losing jobs. There's too much uncertainty out there. And no matter what people in the real estate market want to believe, because months ago we saw that some of the biggest banks in America were cutting thousands of people in their mortgage departments, thousands. And we're still seeing people in these mortgage departments being let go. And we're seeing a lot of real estate agents across the country now quitting. And you know, what was it? 30 agents a day quitting in Las Vegas, one of the hottest real estate markets. But guess what? Inventory is piling up. Agents are quitting. And we have a problem here in the market, and it's called jobs. People are losing jobs. Real wages have gone down for 24 months, and we have mortgage rates above 7%. And you think that that's not going to hurt the housing market? You think that we're not going to see a housing crisis? People don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe it because they work in the real estate industry, or their wife works in the real estate industry, or they just bought a house 6 months ago. And let me tell you, if you bought a house in the last couple years, I think you're going to really regret what you did. And that's my opinion. Hope I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Hope I'm wrong. But connect the dots. Look what's happening in the mortgage industry. Look what's been happening in the mortgage industry for the last 6 months at least. What is going on? Look at what's happening with jobs, especially well-paying jobs. Look at the layoffs. Look at what's happening in tech. Look at the uncertainty. Do you think that this is a good time to make probably the largest investment in your life, a home? Do you think this is the right time to do it? I would totally disagree. Now, I want to just switch gears here for a little bit. I was just reading some articles today about San Francisco, the office district, complete ghost town. It's covered in feces. It's covered with broken glass, trash, dead animals, graffiti, you name it. It's covered in it. And I look at these areas like San Francisco, at one time, one of the most beautiful cities, not that long ago, one of the most beautiful cities in America. And you have to think, when I was in Venice Beach a year ago, looking at the amount of stores that are gone, vacated, businesses just have shuttered. And you just look at all this vacant real estate in what's taking place in New York, and the massive amounts of vacant real estate in Los Angeles and San Francisco. Comment down below. Are you seeing vacant commercial real estate in your area? I've been watching it for at least 3 years. I began to see it out here at least 3 years ago, and I was reporting on it, but it just keeps accelerating. And you have to think, like, how long does this go on before so many people just leave these cities and they're just complete ghost towns? And why is it happening? Why is it being allowed to happen? And, you know, maybe one day these cities are going to be occupied, but it won't be by Americans. Maybe it won't be by American companies. Maybe it'll be like countries like China. Maybe it's going to be other countries that come in and buy this real estate up for pennies on the dollar and then clean these cities up. They're going to get all the street people out. They're going to clean, you know, all of the feces out and all of the trash and graffiti, and they're just going to clean it all out. Is that what's going to happen? Is this how it's all going to play out, that we're just going to watch foreign investors come in and buy up American cities? I mean, they're buying farmland right now. So, and we know that, you know, many countries, especially China, have come in and bought so much real estate. You look at the Montage in Laguna Beach. Who owns it? It's China. China owns that. China owns a lot of real estate and commercial real estate right here in America. And I bet they're licking their chops right now for the deals that are coming. Here's another one from the hedge. Citigroup projects $30 silver in the next 6 to 12 months. We are watching so much volatility. We continue to see Bitcoin, gold, silver, the Dow today down a little bit. But what do you think about this? We're seeing a lot of volatility right now, but of course, a lot of this is related to the debt ceiling drama that is taking place right now. But there's a couple good points here in this article of why silver is going to continue to go up and why gold is going to go up. The dollar is going to continue to weaken. The dollar is really on life support. I don't think it's going to go away completely. It could at some point, but I think it's going to be around for a while, but it is going to not resemble what we used to look at as a US dollar. It is going to literally probably be somewhat more relatable to a third world currency, because the world is looking for leadership. It's going to look for a currency backed by something. It's going to look for something that's not weaponized, and it's probably going to be looking at the yuan. The current ratio of silver to gold is 83 to 1. Another good reason to own some of this stuff. I'm not giving financial advice, but this is what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to buy precious metals. I think it's a very good time to buy with this pullback. I just made another small purchase, but silver's not going anywhere. It's a monetary metal. It's an industrial metal. It's been here for 5,000 years, never going to be worth zero. But I think as we watch the BRICS nations grab more traction, and we see more countries heading to the BRICS, we are going to see something really historic take place in precious metals. I really, truly do believe that. Could be wrong. I mean, could be wrong. But I do believe that we're going to see huge numbers in gold and silver. And I don't even know, are we going to measure gold and silver in dollars, or do we really begin to measure the wealth in ounces? Because at some point, are you really going to exchange an ounce of gold or silver for dollars, this devaluing fiat monopoly money? I don't think so. I think it's going to be probably for another currency, or it's going to be for other assets. Let me know your thoughts on this. And I want to close with this last article, because we are watching so much fragmentation socially, what's happening right now, and it's really, really disturbing. Christopher Wright beaten to death over money dispute. Family suspects he was killed by a blow to the head. The Maryland father, and I'll just kind of paraphrase through here, killed while protecting his son from a schoolyard dispute. His son was in a fight, I believe, days earlier, and later that day, the kid he got in a fight with tried to fight him again, and this time he brought multiple kids, and they attacked this boy, Mr. Wright's son, multiple kids attacking him. And Mr. Wright's son got away, and he's coming home after school after escaping this encounter. And as he's walking home, it says around 4:45, 3 boys from earlier in the day that were involved in this skirmish, and 2 adults show up at his home. Mr. Wright, the father, came outside to tell everybody that his son is not going to fight. The group threatened to break into Mr. Wright's house and fight inside their house. One adult said, if your son is not going to fight, then you're going to fight. And the mob of teenage kids and adults attacked this father, Christopher Wright, right outside of his home and killed him. And every day, it is another one of these stories. And it's just unbelievable the amount of violence that we are seeing. A schoolyard dispute between 2 kids now evolves into multiple kids and adults going after this kid, and then going to his house and then beating his dad to death. Where am I, ladies and gentlemen? Where am I? I mean, we are beginning to really resemble a third world country right now. And as I've been saying, when we begin to really see the economy implode, when it really breaks apart, what is this going to look like? And so many people are not prepared to deal with what we're going to see in society. They're not. And that really scares me. People might be preparing economically. They might be preparing with more food and water. But when you look at the type of people and what they're willing to do to you over a schoolyard fight, it's incredible. It really, really is. And it just makes you think, how bad is this going to look as this economy gets worse? And heaven forbid that we default on this debt. And there are people out there right now saying that it is very, very possible. It's becoming more and more possible every day. As I make this video, we have no resolution. We have a 3-day weekend. If we don't have a resolution tomorrow, then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we're probably not going to have anything going on. We're getting very, very close to June 1st, ladies and gentlemen. What are the odds, ladies and gentlemen? Please comment down below. I want to know what you think about this, but what are the odds that we default, or maybe we default temporarily? Maybe this goes past the June 1st date. Maybe we go a couple weeks into this and we really begin to see things stress out a little bit. How bad could this be? Are we overreacting? Maybe it's not going to be that bad. Maybe things will keep functioning. I don't really know. I don't know. But what I do know is we don't have a deal right now. We have a 3-day weekend, and there is a very serious possibility that we could see a default, maybe a temporary default. But what message does this send to the rest of the world? I mean, we cannot agree to this. The world looks at the potential of a default. Countries holding treasuries got to be getting very, very nervous. Could you imagine how many countries must be calling up right now, saying, "Hey, what the heck is going on? You better figure this out. We're holding a lot of treasuries." This is getting very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And look, we could have a deal tomorrow. I'm sure the markets would be ecstatic, and we're going to get a really quick sugar rush here. Markets will be, in euphoria. But we're going to see more inflation, because that, when we get a deal, if we do, which I think we will, that just means that we've agreed to print trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of more money. Money that's probably not going to be helping the average person. In fact, the average taxpayer now owes $248,000. The average citizen owes $98,000. I mean, look at that debt clock. We're almost at $32 trillion of debt, and we're going to continue to raise the debt ceiling and print more money, borrow more money, want to tax the American people even more while they're losing jobs, while their wages, real wages, continue to go down, while their hours get cut, while they don't have benefits, they don't have health insurance. And yet people will write me and tell me that I shouldn't mislead people. Somebody wrote me yesterday and said I shouldn't mislead people. Please comment down below if I've misled you in any way. I apologize. I'm just reporting the news, the stuff that comes on the Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, CNBC, The Hedge, CNN, Drudge Report, you name it. I'm getting news from all over the place. Fox Business, probably on a daily basis. I'm looking at, 20, 30, 40 different news sites. So if I've misled you in any way, I really apologize. Please let me know if I've misled you in any way, what it was, because I'm just reporting the news and it does not look good. Anybody out there that does not think, or that thinks that this economy is booming, that things are heading in the right direction, that the typical average consumer American is doing better than they were a few years ago, I think you are drinking the Kool-Aid. And maybe you should make videos and explain to all of us how things are doing so well. Maybe because you live in Mayberry and everything's okay in Mayberry, but I live in the United States of America. I don't live in Mayberry. I live in the entire United States of America. This country is what matters, not a single town in Montana or a single town in Texas or a single town in North Dakota. We live in America, and if our country is bankrupt, then we're all bankrupt. If our pensions are unfunded, then more than likely your pension is going to be unfunded. If all of our states are in debt, massive debt, and our municipalities, if a majority of them are, then more than likely yours is too. So, it's nice that things are doing great in Mayberry, but start looking at the bigger picture, because millions upon millions of people are being affected. And just because you have 3 meals a day, you're driving a Lexus, you live in a nice house, and you're making some money right now, have a little respect for people out there that are struggling right now, who've lost jobs, who are working 2 or 3 jobs to make up for that one job loss. who can't put 3 meals of food on the table for them and their kids. I mean, we have to have a little compassion here. We've got to start looking outside of our little bubble outside of Mayberry and see what's happening all across America and the globe right now. $300 trillion in global debt, ladies and gentlemen. And you think that that's not going to affect America? Sadly mistaken. Bank failures. You think that we're done with bank failures right now? I highly doubt it. The system is in big trouble, ladies and gentlemen. So get out of your little bubble, start looking past Mayberry and look at the big picture of what's happening to your country. We're in big trouble. You think what's happening socially, you think the chaotic violence that's happening in LA, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, et cetera, isn't coming to an area near you? It is. It is. And you better be able to protect yourself, your family, your assets. Stop worrying about how much money you have, how much emergency food you have. You better worry about how you're going to protect this stuff. And you better be walking close to God. God bless every one of you. Have a phenomenal evening. Thanks for tuning in. Please share, please like, please subscribe. God bless all of you. I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon.